This is the state of Chihuahua, Mexico's largest state, known for its spectacular landscapes in the Copper Canyon, low German-speaking Mennonite communities, bakeries, cheese, and so much more worthy of an extended trip. I'm in the city of Chihuahua for a few days to check it out, and over the next 2 videos I'm going on a much-needed journey. But we're not talking about travel. These videos are not about Chihuahua. They're about burnout, pressure, stress, and anger, and reminding ourselves that travel isn't about doing what a guidebook says or what other people tell us to do. Our travel experiences are unique to ourselves. Our journey is our own.
Once upon a time, I was searching the sky. Once upon a time, for the cloud number 9. Once upon a time, till you came around. Now I'm yours, and you are mine until the end.
Okay, hi people, welcome to Sunday morning. Why am I walking gingerly and looking down as I walk? Because I'm walking on some train tracks, as you do. That's right, we're not starting this video in a nice, comfortable Central Square area. There are abandoned freight trains up there, there's a circus behind me, and there are some questionable looking characters hanging around, I'm assuming waiting to jump on the back of a Ferromex train to somewhere in Mexico or possibly the US. We are in the state of Chihuahua, as I said, the largest state in Mexico, and more specifically today I'm in Ciudad Cuauhtémoc, which, if I pronounce incorrectly one more time, I'm gonna flip. And as you may know, if you're familiar with Chihuahua, this area is well known for its small Mennonite communities, oder auf Deutsch kleine Gemeinden. Yes, I can speak German, kind of, although I should really be speaking Low German, or Plautitsch, which is the Mennonites' mother tongue. They also speak Spanish and English. Fascinating. Let's be a train geek first and check out these trains. One thing that surprised me recently is just how many of you are train geeks in the comments after I put trains in a recent video. Look at these huge train cars with graffiti on. I don't know why I find them so fascinating, but I've been reading a lot about Ferromex recently, or Ferromex. It's quite an interesting history. I would suggest reading about it. I'll put a link down below. Behind that tree over there, you've already seen it in the intro, is this massive factory. Is it actually a Coca-Cola factory? I don't know, or is it just another factory that has a Coca-Cola thing on it? You can probably tell me in the comments. There's a slightly dodgy guy over there. He's probably perfectly fine, but look at that. It's time for a street walk. As you can see, there are many shoe shops, zapateria, and not just shoe shops, but places with like those classic northern Mexican kind of cowboy boots. You know, I'm gonna definitely buy some before I leave Mexico. I might get some in Gomez Palacio in about a week's time, because I just have to. I'm sorry, I love them. You know what, it's quite a nice little city. I'm pointing out architectural things today because I love it. Like the shop facades in places like this, a bit sort of decrepit and falling apart, adds to the character. Then you've got this cathedral, not a cathedral, I guess it's a church, in the background. I'm just so accustomed to cathedrals now. Funny Spanish thing, this is what I love about Spanish. There can be an area for anything. Panaderia, pasteleria, carniceria, taqueria, quesadilla, everything area. But English, it's bloody butchers, fishmonger, bakery. Why can't there just be something simple? I am actually shocked because this is a cathedral. It's the Cathedral de San Antonio. I wouldn't expect there to be like a cathedral in a relatively small city, but apparently there is. How long have I been in Mexico, David? I should know these things. From outside, it's very nice, but as you can see, there are lots of people arriving. It's 11 o'clock on a Sunday, so there is a service going on, so I'll have to come back here later. But we're at the Obispado. Is that where the bishop lives? Obispo is bishop, isn't it? Yes, it is. Have a nice time, hun.
Coming under your skin, don't know if we should stop or begin. 'Cause I was there by your side, true. There were no reasons why. Guess our beauty must die. We try hard, but we all so reckless. So reckless.
It's Central Square time. And look at the sun beaming down on a Sunday morning. Isn't it beautiful? I really like this Central Square. That kiosk is quite different. The top of it, it's some sort of metal, I don't know, and it's got an interesting design on with all these gold figureheads on there, and also around the side as well are full-size statues. Thundercats are on the loose. There's a guy with a Thundercats t-shirt. Anyone from the UK will remember that. I used to really fancy Chitara. She was totally hot. Since being in Chihuahua, I've been here for about a week in real time. I've noticed there are many indigenous peoples. I'm not sure if it's just one or more than one. I did read somewhere that Cuauhtémoc, or at least Chihuahua, is the place of 3 cultures or something. I guess Mexican, indigenous, and Mennonite maybe. I don't know if they are the 3. There are some in like some really bright, almost neon green dresses. It kind of reminds me when I was in like Bolivia and Peru, where you would see a lot of those women walking along, you know, like the lady in front. Auditorio de las Tres Culturas. Maybe that's where I saw it. And also it's on the side behind me. Oh, and there's a fountain. Once again, it's not dancing. Lovely. Kids screaming. Church bells in the background. Very colourful. Lovely blue skies. I'm going to miss this when I leave Mexico. Right, I've just had some breakfast / lunch, I guess you'd call it brunch, at that place. You guessed it, La Waffleria, Waffeln in German, if I remember rightly. I couldn't film in there thanks to One Direction and Harry Styles' back catalogue. Thanks, Hans. But I had an amazing, ginormous waffle with, it was like a breakfast one with like streaky bacon and eggs, and it was meant to be chorizo as well, but I'm assuming they run out. But regardless, it was gorgeous and it filled me up nicely. It's definitely like, it feels like USA portions up this side of Mexico, if you know what I mean. I'm stuffed, but we're ready to go on to our next spot, that's the word. As well as USA food portions, there are a number of other things in Chihuahua I'm noticing that do make me feel like I'm closer to the US. Obviously I am, it's just over the border from Texas. As well as the guys that may or may not have been jumping on a freight train to El Paso earlier. There was a guy on the bus who I met. He had been living in Kansas for 5 years. He was in prison, he's a tattoo artist, and once he got out of prison he got deported and it's made his way here from Ciudad Juarez. He lives, well, he's originally from Cuauhtémoc. My kind of guy. Right, can you see me? I don't know. Apparently this has become one of those videos when I have to walk about 10 to 12 kilometers into the middle of nowhere because there are no buses or taxis. I'm walking down the commercial corridor. Basically it has a load of motels, farms, places selling brand spanking new farming equipment, bakeries. I've seen one back there, and a Manitoba market, which means I must be getting close to Mennonite land. At least I hope so. There's my first sighting of German. Cafe garden, coffee garden, obviously. Cool. As I get closer to the Mennonite Museum, which I already know is closed before you start saying I missed it, see, I've got you covered, I'm starting to see other types of building, like farming buildings that look a bit different in the distance there. I don't know if you can see because I can't see on the camera right now. There's some like really sort of old style orange and red vehicles there in the middle of that field. I thought I'd come and have a closer look at these cars. One's a Ford, one's a Dodge. It's like something out of the 50s or 60s or something. Like I'm not trespassing on anyone's land or something. The door's open on one of them. hasn't been used for a long time. I haven't seen another person in about 3 hours. Grundstücke zum Verkaufen. I think it's like land to rent. And look at all those engines in that place. I've never seen so many engines in my life. I guess like tractor engines and stuff. Wowzers. Hallelujah! I've actually made it to the Museo Mennonite. I'll put on the screen how far I've walked, just so you know the lengths I go for YouTube. So you better bloody like this video, comment and share like a good person. Like I said, it's closed. I knew it was. Yeah, 9 to 5, Monday to Saturday. Unfortunately, I have a job, so I can't come during the week. Look, you've got tractors, you've got... Oh, look, there's that thing in the distance there. Can you see it? It's not a windmill, it's like a wind vane thing. And you've got... I've just trod in a puddle, fantastic. You've got farming equipment. Let's put it through the gate a bit more. There is the Mennonite Museum. Lovely. I can't believe it. I've walked all this way and now there's a taxi. And I have walked all this way for a pizza, believe it or not. Okay, there are other things I've come here for, but Los Arcos Pizzeria, literally everyone on the planet has told me to come here because apparently it's the best in the area. I don't think there's much competition, Hans. I can't believe I'm at Los Arcos Pizzeria. Look at it. I don't even want a pizza, but this is YouTube, so I've got to have one. They use queso Mennonite, or queso Chihuahua as it's otherwise known, the cheese of the area. Here we go. It looks quite popular. Look, there's a drive-through. There's loads of cars. This is a stressful video. I can't believe how busy this place is. It's unbelievable, considering it's in the middle of nowhere. Madness. This pizza must be good. It's also been raining while I've been in there, so I've got takeaway and I'm eating it on one of the wet tables and I'm sitting in a puddle. Brilliant. Oh yes, cheese, jalapenos, and I think that was it. It's a Mexican one, you know what I mean. Is it good? It's okay. It just tastes like a pizza. It's not that extraordinary. Exquisite, the best. I wouldn't go that far. Yeah, queso Mennonite. It's not like a cheese that has like a strong flavour like you would with European cheeses. Oh my god, I miss them. You know, like things like queso Oaxaca. It's just like dairy string cheese. There's no flavour to it whatsoever. It's just, I'm being really negative now, sorry, but it's been one of those days. But honestly, this isn't anything to write home about. I mean, it'll do for a meal, right? But that's just about it. It's distinctly average. I'd give it 5 out of 10. It's even all burnt on the bottom. I mean, what sort of pizza is that? It's doughy. There's too much sauce and there's not enough cheese, so the cheese just falls off. Yeah, this is just, you know, I would get better getting a dodgy takeaway pizza in London, if I'm honest. This is how bad this pizza is. I'm not even finishing it. I'm going in the bin. Isn't it funny, like, you know, these food YouTubers, and I do this, like, oh, it's amazing, when it's just average, and I can't even save this pizza with that fake ass YouTube personality. That was awful. I'm sorry, but it was shit. There was no bin, so I had to kick it off the edge of a bridge into a river. Don't tell anyone. Yeah, that pizza as well. I've made better pizzas than that. If any Italians are watching, you're probably want to slit your wrists after seeing that crap. Campo Neunzen. This looks promising. I see a car, I see buildings. Could there be signs of civilization? I think actually more of the larger settlements are way further up the road, like a long way away. Oh, our Hope Home, is that? Something in Hope. Okay, I can't really read that. Stop in something. Maybe it's Low German. As I said, it's a bit different to regular German. Well, this is very interesting because it's definitely a completely different side of Mexico that you wouldn't normally see. You know, it's not a Pueblo Mexico, it's not a Fantasma, it's not a colonial centre. It feels more like a farming community, and I said it earlier, in a state like Kansas in the US. I was there a few years ago. It was just all these flat lands of fields and things. I know you can see hills and mountains and stuff in the distance. Look at all these fields of crops as far as the eye can see. I can hear thunder in the background, in the distance even. Yeah, look at that storm over there. Is that the one that has already passed through, or is it coming my way? This building on behind is the Gnadenberg Kleine Gemeinde Kirche, which is a church, small community church. I'm noticing in this area there are a lot of these yellow school buses, like in the US. Right, let's sit down. I'm going to get some proper death threats from this video, aren't I? Because I was hoping, as I said at the beginning, that it would be interesting, curious, fascinating, but honestly it's not. I wish I'd stayed in Ciudad Cuauhtémoc, that was nice. And I was going to say, if I had seen some people in this video, that when we go to a place, right, it can be very easy to be on one side genuinely curious, but at the same time disrespectful at the same time, because I haven't got a Mennonite background. I'm not an expert in Mennonite history, and coming to a place like this, it can be easy to kind of look at people as if they're zoo animals, if you know what I mean, and we do that in any country we go to, right? But it's about finding the balance between the two, because of course we'll be curious, but we can't border on the other one. So the history of the Mennonites is really interesting. I was hoping to use a lot of this research in this video. A lot of the links are down below in the description if you want to learn more, but just a summary. I believe they originated in the Netherlands in like the 1500s, I think. The founder was called Menno Simon, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And that's where the word Mennonites comes from. And they moved about a lot, or they have moved about a lot. They were in what was West Prussia, which is now, I believe, part of modern day Poland. They also moved to Russia. They had colonies there. And it's really interesting. Some of the food, I've seen vareniki. It's slightly different to the Russian one. It's like pierogi in Poland. I've had vareniki in Latvia, in Belarus. It's absolutely gorgeous. But apparently that's part of their cuisine. They left Russia, I believe, in the 1870s maybe, when they were kind of forced to do military service, or made no longer exempt from military service because they're pacifists, so they are against any kind of war. They then moved to Canada, which is why I mentioned Manitoba earlier, and then faced similar issues there, and eventually moved to this area of Mexico. And I believe a lot of what they do is around farming and industry, and apparently lead quite a conservative lifestyle, and certain things which they didn't used to do, like drive cars, they now do. So it's really interesting. There's loads of interesting info down in the description, so I suggest reading it. And one last thing, I mentioned about the language earlier, Plautitsch, Low German. It's really interesting. Having studied German at school and college, I've been watching a lady on YouTube. I'll put the link down below. She's a Mennonite YouTuber. Fascinating stuff. It's really interesting listening to her speak, because I can understand a lot of the vocabulary, but pronunciation wise there are certain sounds that would be in German that kind of sound Dutch, if you know what I mean, which makes sense because they had, I think originally it was like Dutch and Frisian, and then gradually they adopted this Low German. So it's really fascinating, like in the middle of Mexico people are speaking this type of German. So yeah, it's time to go home now and hope that I can hitchhike home. That's the only way home. Jesus Christ. I stopped filming for my own survival. Sometimes getting home and surviving are more important than going to a Mennonite bakery and a quesadilla. I'm not going to get home tonight. I'm going to have to stay in a hotel in Cuauhtémoc and somehow get back tomorrow morning, so I'm going to miss the bus.